Hey guys, it's M from the Torn Labels Project. Just coming at you, trying to let you know about a couple of the different things that we've got planned coming up for this new year in 2018. It's been a rough couple of years for a lot of people, as far as I know. With the storms and the tragedies and this and that. And every new year we would like to really started off with a bang and set some goals and set some expectations, well, because those things are important. It's very important for us to make sure that our inner life is constantly at the forefront of our minds, so that we're building character and allowing ourselves to become a sponge for learning and becoming a better person every day. There's a lot of things that I've learned over time, over the last 20 years, and tons of people that have spoken to my life in regard to all these situations that I had at the time, and very difficult areas of depression and anxiety and things like that. And one of the things that Torn Labels Project is determined to raise awareness for is to be able to help people on the front side of the mental health situation in this country, as opposed to in the aftermath. We have a lot of people, a lot of things in the news that have been going on that is quite frightening if you think about it, or you don't even have to think about it. All you have to do is turn on your local news and see exactly what it is that's tearing us apart, and the media adding their extra, and our thoughts adding extra, and us trying to make sense of it all. And we want to blame this one and blame that one and this and that, when we want to point fingers and look to all these other different places. We want to shift the blame and make other people responsible for the way we feel and the way that we are. And a lot of times we do it, psychologically inside of our head. We don't even realize that we're doing it. And one of the most important things that we need to do is we need to make sure that we're continually filtering through the life that we live inside of our head. We may understand people's issues and different things, but we will never be 100% parallel. If you think about it, that it is very common for people to know what it is like to experience different emotions. There are things that I've been through that you haven't been through. There are things that other people have been through that I have not been through. But does that mean that I am any less able to help? One of the things that I like to do is expose this lie that we constantly live in. And it's a lie that tells us that our way is the right way and our way is the only way. Unless you're an advocate of learning and constantly trying to teach yourself new ways, unlearn bad behaviors and patterns and things like that, that oftentimes will have us sinking into just this one spot. Sometimes it's how we feel about ourselves. Sometimes it's the messages that we get from other places like the television, or we know the standard as far as what a woman's supposed to look like in a man's perspective, in a man's world. We get those messages through TV, through modeling, through fashion. We understand those. Those are all, quite apparent social things that we all are subject to. And one of the ways that people are trying to raise awareness to let you know that that's not how life really is. There are very few women that actually look that way. It's awesome. Take care of your body, take care of, your fashion, feel good about yourself, whatever it takes. But you'll oftentimes see that there are people that are within that industry that just simply are not happy because they're putting on a facade, like often people do on Facebook. You look at people's lives and you see the different things that they're doing, and now you have to remember that's a highlight reel. There's not a whole lot of people that are going to go into, taking pictures of abusive relationships or, different things that we would think, oh, these people have great lives and, they're so much fun. I've been told myself that my life looks, very amazing and fun and this and that. And yeah, there are seasons where it looks like a lot of fun, but we work in a behavioral health field, and there's not a lot of fun when it comes down to dealing with people who have serious depression problems, people who want to kill themselves, people who don't value themselves or don't see that there's any future for them. And so one of the things that Torn Labels Project is committed to this year within 2018, among all the other things, is trying to find some people where we can delegate some work to them And, it's simply on a volunteer basis. None of us take a paycheck for any of it. The funds that are raised specifically for the company go to assist people go to rehabs. We've been able to pay people, buy people food when they didn't have food. We've been able to support a couple of people overseas with some materials and things that they're trying to help us with here in the United States. So whereas we're not international, we stay in here mostly local, but always constantly trying to find those different avenues where we can reach out to other people and help other people. Like we did, we sent many items from our Rockfist apparel store. We sent those things to Texas when they had all those crazy floodings out there. We spread a lot of stuff around Florida. We were attempting to send things to Puerto Rico. We were told to stop doing that for reasons I can't really discuss because it might be opinion and it might not, but it was our overall judgment call to not continue to do that, but to help locally with the people that had been replanted from Puerto Rico that were now up here in our area. So we're just trying to spread a little bit of extra love this year and trying to stay within the forefront of the mental health condition in this country that seems to be depleting at a rapid pace. That people are angry, people are fighting each other. There's so much tension within what we're doing that even when someone is trying to do something that is good, they don't even want to admit that it's good, or they want to still rise against it. So, which is human. It is definitely human. When we don't see eye to eye with someone, we automatically think that our opinion is the correct opinion. But we do it a lot based on minimal information and twisted information. You can't possibly make a very good judgment call on something that you know nothing about. I understand everybody's up in arms about Trump and this and that, but, everybody was up in arms about, what Clinton did and what the Bushes did and all kinds of, there was never really a time where everybody was just so even with Barack Obama, he brought a lot of good to the United States, but there was a lot of people that were opposed against the things that he was, the things that he supported and the way he didn't take action on certain things. It's always going to happen. You're not going to have a perfect situation, but also you have to remember, you're not inside. It's like a relationship. When you have a relationship with somebody that you're in love with or you're, in romantically, and, you have a best friend that you talk to and you voice your opinion and vent and say, he didn't do this, she didn't do that, she forgot my birthday, she this, she that, and it's very easy for us to be able to just run off at the mouth and let everything that's in our head come out of our mouth with regard to how that person treats us and this and that. Because when you're with a friend that you trust, you tend to be a little bit more open. So between friends, you can talk back and forth. Now, what if you're in a situation where your friend is only getting the brunt of the stuff? They don't always get the things where, you don't, this is, look what she did for me. Look what he did for me. He was so awesome. He set this whole thing up. She went out and she did this and that. And it's just really she was amazing. Most of the time when you're friends, you hear the brunt side of the story about, basically what a jerk he's been, or, what a loser she's been, or whatever it is. But the important part is to remember that regardless of what your friend tells you and how much you're involved in intricately, you don't know about the relationship and the feelings between those two individuals. You're not supposed to. It's not your job. It's your job to be a sounding board and to listen to your friends and, to be supportive regardless. Obviously if your friend's getting beat or horribly, abused physically or emotionally or whatever, that's not the kind of thing that I'm talking about. I'm just talking about, he's a jerk, he did A, B, and C. Okay, well, sometimes it's our job to try to help redirect our friends. And sometimes based on whether or not we like the person, we can get very mixed signals. So if I'm with a friend and I really like the person that they're with, I'll be more inclined to speak positively. And so if I don't care for what they've done because I've continued to hear all the bad things that they've been doing, man, why are you with this person? And then if I personally know that person and I don't care for that person, then obviously it's going to affect the way that I, handle things and talk to them about it. One of the most important things is for us to be able to understand you're not in that relationship. The two people that are in that relationship are the only ones that understand what's really happening and the emotion that's connected to it. It's very easy for me to make comments about your relationships because I don't know what went into them. I don't know the history that you have. I don't know the love that you shared. I don't know, the daily ins and outs of it. And I'm disconnected. So if I'm disconnected, it's very easy for me to just basically, draw a gun and shoot holes through whatever you say, regardless of you're like, okay, so last month you were telling me all about how this person's a jerk and that you wanting to leave them and kick them out. And now this month, like, he brings you flowers and you go out to dinner, and now all of a sudden you guys are right back at square one. Yeah, because sometimes that's how relationships work. We need to be able to have a safe outlet. You see my dog running back there? We need to have a safe outlet and where we're able to express our feelings and our emotions. And not only do we need to be that for people, we need to understand the severity of how important it is for us to not be talking shit about what other people are going through to other people. If somebody's invested in you and has shared things with you, it's not your job to spread around the business. You see things on Facebook, you see things like, everybody's lovey, and then all of a sudden you see the relationship status change, and all of a sudden people are like, ooh, what happened? I mean, well, if you're going to share your life with them on the good side, I'm the type of person that will share with you on the opposite side. Nothing too crazy on Facebook. I try not to get too caught up, but there's been situations where I've shared a little bit here and there, but I make a point of making sure that I don't go through and I bash somebody, because you know what? One time I cared about that person, and it's not my job to just tell them everything that I don't like about them and blast it all over Facebook. Sometimes what I'll do is, because I'll be getting a lot of phone calls and things, I'll put just like a small blanket statement up in order to, to basically be like, hey, this is what's going on, and it's not meant for attention. It's just for, here's your overall knowledge. It would be great if you could stop calling, because it's like when somebody passes away and everybody wants to check on you and wants to make sure that you're okay. But there might be times during the day where you're not thinking about that person who passed away, and then you get a text message, and then somebody be like, hey, are you doing okay? And you're like, man, I was totally not even thinking about that, and so it becomes a little bit more difficult. It increases the difficulty of your day, because whereas you were doing okay before, now all of a sudden you're kind of back at square one. So I myself, personally, I'll keep it on myself. I have no problem being transparent. I have a book being written about me right now, about my life, and you're going to find a lot of stuff about me that you're going to be kind of blown away about. And the only reason why I am okay with it, I know a lot of it will be, there will be expounded upon things that didn't actually happen, and obviously the names will be changed to protect the guilty. But ultimately, I believe in transparency for one reason. Not because I want to spread my business, but because I want to show people how real life is. I grew up in a world where it was not okay for you to express the difficulties that you had. It was put the smile on. And this, I'm not saying this is for my parents. My parents were amazing parents. They still are. And they encouraged us and helped us to grow and all of that. But we lived in a church world, and we lived in a very judgmental type of an environment. We didn't really know it at the time. That's just how we lived. And so growing up was very much like, hide everything. Let's not tell this person, because God forbid they know that we're real. There might be somebody who needs to help me in my struggle, but I'm not being transparent with them. I'm not bringing my friends closer or letting them know, because I'm embarrassed that these things are occurring in my life, or I made decisions that led to this thing, whatever. So in the midst of all of that, as I began to grow up, I realized the importance of not covering the truth and covering the pain and the scars that had come from back then. And it's a very big problem. People still live very much inside their own head, struggling with all of these different emotions and feelings, and that can be very damaging at times. So what I want to do with these videos is I want us to be able to explore lots of different things. I'll tell you more things about my life. You get to know me, and it'll be like we'll just kind of sit around and talk. I'll try to make it look a little bit more professional as I get my backdrops up and stuff like that. But this is real. That's what's real. My bed's not made. I got a killer fridge in the back. I got quite the room up here. This kind of acts, doubles as my studio. So I'll be very pleased to talk to you about my life, because I do feel that not enough people are talking about the inward I'm not talking about going to counseling. I'm not talking about all kinds of like hardcore this and that. Just simply talking. You're like, you know what? This is kind of the way that it is. This is how we live life, you know? I almost got shot by a cop one time. I had a gun to my head. It was a very scary situation, but it was my fault. And, you know, it was years ago. And why would I tell you that? Because, you know what? We make bad decisions. And lots of times our bad decisions lead to even worse decisions, you know, and that all has to do with my background. And if you want to trek with me through it, it would be great. I'm going to try to edit these things up and break some of them up and try to make them a little bit more interesting so you don't just hear me droning on. But I feel like it's very important at this time, as far as Torn Labels Project is concerned, that we're trying to raise awareness of the mental health issue in this country. And I always hold to the fact that a lot of it has to do with our food, the air that we breathe, the water that we drink. You know, we're being poisoned in every aspect of our lives. How are we going to expect that our body chemistry is not going to change? So those chemicals that were there before to keep us happy and keep us balanced and stuff are constantly under attack by simply eating McDonald's food, or, you know, drinking beverages that have a ton of sugar in them. You know, and I have a constant struggle with my boys, too, to try and edit all of that stuff out so that they don't wind up with all kinds of crazy, you know, diseases and stuff, because I allowed this to continue because it was cheaper for me to buy a burger. It was cheaper for me to buy the 50-cent drink that's loaded with sugar than for me to buy, you know, the natural iced tea or something like that. The struggle is real, as we say, and I hope that you guys will trek along with me. I want to keep the posts open so you guys can make comments, but I'm not going to tolerate people just bad mouthing and trying to be a bully over the keyboard. So I'll leave the comments open, but if I get a couple of stuff that's just off the wall for no particular reason except for somebody's a coward and doesn't want to talk about their own problems and stuff like that, well, that's on them. So I will. You'll notice, by the way, I shut down the comment section if it becomes a little bit out of control, because not everybody agrees, and that's okay. But the things that I've done, the things that I've learned, have set my life on a good course, because I've stayed with mentors, I stayed with people I trusted, I stayed with people that I knew were constantly trying to create good character within themselves on a daily basis. So if you, once again, will trek along with me through this season, not sure how often it will be, how frequent, often, whatever, and I don't know what the content will be. It's just going to be when I wake up and I feel like, you know what, this has really been on my heart. I'd like to talk about this. And I hope you come along. I hope you come along on the journey, and I hope that you're better for it. Not because I spoke it or not because I taught it to you, but because somebody else took the time to speak into my life. And if all the crap that I've been through does nothing more than help you to reset the balance of your life, then it was worth it. And I have no problem. You know, you want to ask me questions, ask me questions. I try to be an open book when it's appropriate, and so I'll definitely have an email and an email address or whatever where you can ask me questions, and we can go from there. So I hope you liked this little introduction today that I did. It's, you know, it's a little rough around the edges, but aren't we all? So that's kind of where I'm shooting from the hip, and I will let you know via Facebook if you want to subscribe to the Torn Labels Project YouTube channel. You can absolutely do that, and I'm going to make them shorter than this 20-minute video. So I'm sure you don't have 20 minutes to sit there and listen to me blab on. So I'm going to try to make them a lot smaller. I'm just watching the clock, and I'm at 18:43. I'm going to try to keep on task as far as not going off on a rant, because I have some ADD, and that sometimes helps me. Hey, shiny thing, you know. So, so God bless you for today, and I hope that you enjoyed this little thing, and let you know what's coming up for the new year. And I'm just gonna put my foot on the gas and keep moving forward. And if nobody watches it, then I'll move on and I'll do something else, and that'll be that. So I hope you guys have a good day. Thanks for listening.